looks like in June 2017 when the producers of this video documentary visited the town. Unlike the scenario that played out during an earlier visit in June 2016, when the town just started to pick up the pieces, Gubbio has now regained its vibrancy. A much larger number of people have now returned home from internally displaced persons IDP camps where they had sought refuge when Boko Haram controlled Gubbio. Taxis now ply Gubbio roads, and schools have resumed, as attested to by these pupils filmed by our crew on their way back from school. The Gubbio Motor Park is also back in business, with commercial transport buses ferrying people to and from Maiduguri and neighboring towns and communities from the town, a very rare sight in June 2016. Virtually all its community leaders are now back in Gubbio, and they meet regularly with the district head to deliberate on the affairs of the town. The people of Gubbio, including their leadership, believe they owe the normalcy that now prevails in their town to the Nigerian army and do not cease to demonstrate their appreciation effusively each time they interface with the leadership of its troops in the town.
Assalamu alaikum. To aga kamar kullun dai mun zo domin ga yadda kuke halin.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhaji Wakile Karibe is the district head of Gubbio. Asked to describe the situation in Gubbio presently, Alhaji Wakili says,
compared with the situation 2 years ago, normalcy has now returned to Gubbio. Around the town, you can see people sitting and doing their businesses. Even marketers, you saw them by the roadside when coming here. People are going to their farms too. We thank the Chief of Army Staff for his endless effort to ensure the return of peace to Gubbio and to sustain the peace in the town.
Baba Gana Umar is a booking master at the Gubbio Motor Park. He too had this to say when asked to comment on the situation in the town when our crew visited in June 2017. In the past, especially before July 2015, there was no peace here. The people could not carry on their business like they were doing before Boko Haram came to Gubbio. For us transporters, we could not carry passengers to Maiduguri and other places. But now we can do that because of the normalcy that has returned to Gubbio. Further north of Gubbio is Careto. To some, Careto is simply yet another community in northern Borno. But to those familiar with the fierce battles fought in that axis to crush and send the Boko Haram terrorists fleeing after July 2015, Careto, where life is now back to normal, remains notorious for the several lives lost and the many injured in the war against the insurgency in its general area. Whereas our crew could not go beyond Gubbio when it visited Borno North in June 2016 because anywhere northwards beyond Gubbio was deemed dangerous and infested with Boko Haram insurgents. Careto is no longer a no-go area. Life has regained its rhythm here, and locals now go about their daily life without fear. Having dislodged Boko Haram from Careto, the Nigerian army holds ground here, and it has established cordial relationships with the people through the medical outreach program it conducts regularly for their benefit. The army also trains young locals of school-going age at this makeshift classroom, where soldiers teach them how to read and write. Damasak is the headquarters of Mobar local government area of Borno State and one of the towns in the farthest fringes of northern Borno. It shares international boundaries with neighboring Niger and Chad republics. One of its borders with Niger Republic is this post known as Wadata Crossing Point. Nigerian immigration and customs officials have since returned to man the crossing point. Traces of Boko Haram in the town have been obliterated, and a battalion of the Nigerian army is on ground here in Damasak. Residents began to return home in December 2016 when the Nigerian army reopened the Gubbio-Careto Damasak road. The Maiduguri-Gubbio axis of it having been reopened much earlier in 2016. The Borno State government subsequently embarked on reconstruction work in the town to re-roof several buildings which had been burned down when Boko Haram took over the town, to make the buildings habitable again. Ahmadu Mustafa is the secretary of the Damasak branch of the Borno State chapter of the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW.
Damasak generally today is very fun. Our soldiers, they are around always. Since we are opening that our road from here to Maiduguri, we don't have any problem. Any terrorists will never attach us at this road, no any problem. After then, our people, they will go and catch their own fish from the river. They will sell it to we, or they carry it to Maiduguri to sell it to our people and they will eat it. We don't have any problem about this thing. Everything's okay. Even our drivers, they never tell us that those Boko Haram, they attack them on the road. We never see it.
Adam Bukar, an indigene of Damasak, is a student of Ramat Polytechnic, Maiduguri. Adam was on holidays in Damasak when he spoke with the producers of this documentary.
After 2 years, 3 years ago, we are not here, we are in the IDP camps. Our last different peoples are in Niger, but now we are come back and we are enjoying very, very good. And motor park and the market all are opening now. We are enjoying very good, and it's very good now. We are very fine in this station now. No any problem in here but now.
These images certainly bear close semblance to Baga, headquarters of Baga local government of yesteryears, especially pre-Boko Haram insurgency days, when life was vibrant and the famous Baga market in northern Borno bustled nearly all day long, almost 7 days a week, all year round. However, these images were not filmed in the Baga of old. Rather, these vibrant activities depict today's Baga town in June 2017. Yes, Baga town, which was previously deserted up until late December 2016 after it was overrun by Boko Haram in January 2015, is back to life. This was sequel to the routing of the Boko Haram insurgents from the town by troops of 7th Brigade of the Nigerian Army, which is under 8th Task Force Division of the Nigerian Army. The brigade is also tasked as a leading component of Sector 3 of the Multinational Joint Task Force, MNJTF, an international military force drawn from the armies of the Lake Chad Basin Commission member countries of Nigeria, Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. The headquarters of the brigade is in Baga. Umar Yahaya sells fish at the Baga market. Umar told the producers of this video documentary that he fled to Sokoto, capital of Sokoto State, when Boko Haram took over the town. According to Umar, he came back to Baga in January 2017 after the Chief of Army Staff declared the highway between Baga and neighboring Monguno open in December 2016. Umar commends the role played by the Nigerian Army in flushing Boko Haram out of Baga, adding that this was what emboldened him to return to the town.
We have crisis before. We live here 2 years ago. I came back to Baga on 15 January this year. We have peace and security. That's why we came back. They are pushing Boko Haram for the place. And as we came, we have peace of mind now. We don't get any problem.
Okechukwu Oswajoku is a trader at Baga Market. The leather merchant, who hails from Imo State, fled back home when Boko Haram sacked the town. Okechukwu returned to Baga in March 2017 and has since resumed his trading activity at the Baga Market. Speaking to us in Igbo, Okechukwu says,
I'm maybe before. So, Yadumbo Bokarambia, and this is a bosso. So, Cambo was a bosso. I see maybe a pele. So, this is a come not as a more my hand move. Not as a not as a knowledge. But more.
Victoria Joseph fries and sells bean cakes, popularly known as akara, at Baga Market. Victoria says, "We enjoy peace and security in Baga now because the army is on ground to protect us. Now we go to our farms without fear to harvest the beans we planted and grind them to fry these bean cakes that I sell." The farmers of the rural communities in Borno North are also back on their farmlands farming, an activity that became impracticable at the height of the Boko Haram insurgency. These farmers are from Gonari village, while this set is from Lindiri village, both close to Monguno on the Maiduguri-Monguno highway. And scenes like these now abound in northern Borno, erstwhile stronghold of Boko Haram. Cattle herdsmen who faced the nightmare of the aggressive and often bloody cattle rustling activities of Boko Haram are also back in business in Borno North. Images such as this one too, filmed at a community close to Lindiri in Borno North in June 2017, are now commonplace as herdsmen rear their cattle freely in the general area. Commercial trailer vehicles too now ply some of the routes of Borno North without escort, as depicted by these two trailers filmed at a spot near Gunari on the Maiduguri-Monguno highway. In July 2015, the road was not even open to both private and commercial vehicular traffic. The level of normalcy that now reigns in northern Borno is further underscored by the frequent visits of the officials of aid agencies, agencies of multilateral organizations, and non-governmental organizations to the area, even without armed escorts. This team paid a visit to the headquarters of 8th Task Force Division of the Nigerian Army in Monguno in the course of their tour of the Monguno area of Borno North in June 2017. Maiduguri, to be sure, is certainly not part of Borno North. But even so, the situation in the Borno State capital offers yet another vivid proof of the massive advances made in the war against the Boko Haram insurgency since July 2015. This is more so as the ancient city has remained a prime target of occupation for the insurgents. Although rumors about possible Boko Haram attacks on the ancient city never cease to circulate, Maiduguri clearly stands out as an enduring evidence of the advances made in the degradation of the Boko Haram insurgency after July 2015. And its residents now easily dismiss any rumor of its imminent occupation by Boko Haram. For gone forever are the days when residents of the city spent most of the time indoors and literally slept with both their eyes wide open for fear of Boko Haram making good its threat of taking over the city. Residents of the city, who now go about their routine daily activities undeterred, now regard the occasional incidents of suicide bombings on the outskirts of Maiduguri as nothing but the desperate activities of remnants of the Boko Haram insurgents to attract attention to the group and to create the false impression that it is still a force to be reckoned with, while truly it is not any longer. Emboldened by the valiant efforts of the Nigerian army in and around Maiduguri, residents of the city have chosen to not be cowed into submission and fear by these nefarious activities of the cowardly insurgents. Indeed, on July 6, 2016, the people of Maiduguri announced to the world that they were no longer in fear of Boko Haram and also implicitly declared their full confidence in the assurance of the Nigerian Army-led Operation Lafia Dole, the counterinsurgency operation being conducted in the northeast to crush the Boko Haram insurgency, that the city is safe. On that day, and for the first time in 6 years, the Muslim faithful trooped out in their thousands to the Ramat Square and other open grounds for the Eid al-Fitr prayers, the Islamic prayers which traditionally mark the end of the holy months of Ramadan. For the first time in recent years too, vehicular movement was allowed in Maiduguri during the Eid al-Fitr prayers, despite the threat of vehicle-laden improvised explosive device being used to attack prayer grounds, thus showing, without doubt, that the Nigerian army was on top of the situation in containing the insurgents. These images of the mammoth crowd that turned out at the Ramat Square on July 6, 2016 had not been sighted since 2009, as the Muslim faithful in Maiduguri avoided the venue and other similar prayer grounds on Eid al-Fitr Day because Boko Haram had made such locations one of the prime targets for staging their attacks on residents of the city during Eid al-Fitr public holidays. To show solidarity with the people and further bolster their confidence in the measures it had taken to make Maiduguri safer, the top brass of the Nigerian army joined key government functionaries, leading clerics and leaders of thought at the Ramat Square for the Eid al-Fitr prayers. It is on record that for the first time in 6 years, the prayers held at the Ramat Square and other prayer grounds in Maiduguri on July 6, 2016 went without any incident. This encouraged a similar impressive turnout at prayer grounds in Maiduguri to mark Eid al-Fitr in 2017. Take the area of education too. It is noteworthy that Maiduguri schools have remained open without the prolonged forced shutdowns that characterized the pre-July 2015 era. At the popular Kashim Ibrahim Way, home to several educational institutions in the city, students of both male and female institutions can be seen every morning, Monday to Friday, trooping to school. The various centers of trade and commerce in Maiduguri continue to boom too. At these bustling locations, buyers and sellers do their businesses freely. This contrasts sharply to the situation prevailing before July 2015, when turnout was abysmally low at schools and markets when they opened at all, and many schools and shops remained shut as most residents feared for their lives then. While it is true that the occasional suicide bomb attacks triggered by improvised explosive device-laden suicide bombers still occur at some locations on the fringes of the city, especially vulnerable ones close to the Dalori IDP camp on the outskirts of Maiduguri, at no other time since 2009 has relative normalcy been restored to Maiduguri for a period of 2 consecutive years than between July 2015 and now.
2 years ago, the situation of Boko Haram, the first coming to Boko Haram to the Yobe barrack, that time the school was closed up to 2 years. The school is open now. We are coming to school. Now we are very appreciative. But
in fact, Maiduguri is a bit better than us before. As from 2009, 2010, 2011, 12, it was very, very critical condition. But now, 2015 is a bit better than. There is no problem. We are now feeling better. Without army, I didn't think it will be peace. If there is no army in this Maiduguri, it will be another problem.
We don't have any crisis in Maiduguri now. It's better than before. Now we thank God what Allah leave us now, peace and harmony in Borno. So we like the old army, then we are thanking for the old army. Burate, we thank him. It's not only him, all army we are thanking for him. Because now we are sitting, we can sleep outside, we can talk outside, we can do anything outside. We can go anywhere that we like it, we can travel anywhere. No anything will happen with us. We thank all army and Nigeria armies.
We are going everywhere and anywhere, no problem, no stopping, no bomb, no Boko Haram.
Since 2015 up till now, we thank God that peace is now coming back to Maiduguri. And no more running up and down like before.
Before it was very hectic. Scared here and there, but today it's not like that. You can move around, go to the market, go to your office, go to your school, you do your normal business and come back home, no any problem.
Everything's calm now. At least everybody can move, go to market, move around without any problem. Because without them, the town, nobody will be in this town. Because I can see their handwork. At least many people have complained that whenever Nigeria may leave this town, they will leave this town too, because they have made the town become what it is now by putting peace in the town. So I'm very happy for them. They have tried a lot.
Social life is also back in full swing in Maiduguri. When the producers of this video visited Maiduguri in June 2016, the Lagos-Abuja-Maiduguri air transport route was being plied by two airlines, Medview and Asman. Today, a third airline, Arik Air, has joined those airlines on the route, a development that speaks to the high and profitable load factor on the Maiduguri route and the normalcy that now reigns in the city. The Borno State government has also been able to leverage on the relative peace and stability prevailing in Maiduguri to increase the pace of public works projects that had previously either been abandoned or delayed because of fear of Boko Haram attacks.
The situation on the ground is very encouraging. I have my call for all Boko Haram people to say what they are pursuing is neither Islam nor Nigerian law. So they should forget and join the rest of us and live well.
Since the reception of Mr. President, President Muhammad Buhari from 2015 to date, we have achieved peace in this state. We are very grateful and we are very happy. 2014 or so, you cannot see people here in Maiduguri. Nobody, you cannot see people assembled for good or bad, because Boko Haram will just come, because they are not wearing uniform. They are not wearing uniforms. They will just come, thinking that they are good people. People come to grieve. They will just open fire, either in a marriage place or in a funeral place or in a religious places, etc. They have been brought bomb to my mosque. We escaped unhurt at that time, but so many people died.
We now move over to Yobe State. And what a huge difference 2 years, July 2015 through July 2017, have made in the fight against the Boko Haram insurgency and restoration of normalcy to previously beleaguered parts of the state, as underscored by these images. The town of Buniyadi in Gujuba local government area is is now bustling with life. Yet it had once stuck out like a sore thumb in the unflattering catalogue of the atrocities committed by Boko Haram in Yobe State, and indeed the northeast. For it was here that the group carried out the heinous crime of slaughtering more than 40 students of a federal government educational institution when it sacked Buniyadi in February 2014, thus prompting the indigents and residents to flee the town for IDP camps in Damaturu, leaving Buniyadi desolate. Today, Buniyadi attests to the decimation of Boko Haram by the Nigerian Army-led Operation Lafia Dole and the restoration of normalcy to all of Yobe State. Boko Haram has been flushed out of the town, which was one of its erstwhile strongholds in the state, and life is now back to normal in Buniyadi. Ado Musa, an indigene of Buniyadi, runs this pharmacy shop in the town.
Buniyadi is good. Buniyadi is peace. Now you can sleep your house. The army Buniyadi is a one. It's a Lambuan in the all Nigeria. They are not disturbing to people in the town.
Abdul Rashid Ajibade, who hails from the southwest part of the country, had spent the past 40 years of his life in Buniyadi before Boko Haram invaded the town in February 2014. He returned in 2017, having fled the town in the aftermath of the invasion. Speaking to us in Yoruba, Rashid says, "Before, there was nobody in this town. People had fled the town because of Boko Haram. But people are now returning in large numbers to Buniyadi because the security of the town is good. Both the young and the old are emboldened by the presence of the army and police, and we are confident that we are safe in Buniyadi." To Boko Haram, Damaturu, capital of Yobe State, held the same attraction as Maiduguri, and the group was sworn to attacking, overrunning, and holding the Yobe State capital. Therefore, in the period leading to July 2015, the specter of a Boko Haram invasion loomed large in the hearts of the residents of the city. Then, places like the popular Bayan Tesha market, through which the pulse of the residents of Damaturu can be felt, was not how it looked like in these images of the market filmed in June 2017 that you are seeing. Prior to July 2015, the market was largely deserted by residents wary of a sudden deadly attack by Boko Haram. Today, Bayan Tesha has regained its old appearance, a testament to the fact that residents of the city have now banished the fear of Boko Haram from their minds. Thanks, in the words of most of the residents of Damaturu, to the normalcy restored to the city by the gallant efforts of the troops of the Nigerian Army deployed in the Yobe State axis of the theater of Operation Lafia Dole, which denied Boko Haram of the bases it could use as launch pads for a successful invasion of Damaturu.
Yes, Damaturu is very much okay now. It's very calm than before, but than 2 years ago. It was very terrible those days, but now it's very much okay. The security is very much okay. Nigerian Army have done wonderfully well. I don't think I can. Right, it's wonderfully, it's exceptionally well. They have tried beyond imagination. Without them, we wouldn't have been where we are today.
We thank God. And now we have peace. Our security, they are doing work day and night, 24 hours. No any attacks. Yes, from here to Gashua, Nguru, Potiskum, Buniyadi, Maiduguri. Now we never get any problem at the roads.
Now we are enjoying peace in this town compared to 2 years or at least 1.5 years ago. But now everybody are at least comfortable. We are moving anyhow, even in the night. We can move around. So there's no problem. We are not fearing or panic again. Just thank God for the peace that is reigning now. Not because of the Nigerian army. Nobody can be in this Damaturu. This Damaturu must have even turned to bush. But at least God really helped them for us. Just thank God for that. So they have tried a lot for us, and at least we give them the prestige. At least we salute them that they have done a great job. And God will continue to help them and give them safety in all their ways.
There is peace, I think. I feel comfortable. As you can see me, I came here to purchase some things. So I'm okay with the call.
Like neighboring Borno and Yobe, Adamawa State was also scorched by the Boko Haram insurgency. Although at no point at the height of the insurgency was Yola, capital of the state, under the imminent threat of being overrun and occupied by Boko Haram, vestiges of the impressive strides made since July 2015 in crushing the Boko Haram insurgency can be gleaned right from the state capital. This is the Malkohi IDP camp in Yola. Before now, and at the height of the Boko Haram insurgency, when the terrorists occupied a considerable number of towns and villages in Adamawa State, Malkohi was filled to the brim with IDPs. But by June 2017, the IDPs in the camp have become fewer, as more than half of its occupants had returned to their towns and villages, which were previously occupied by Boko Haram. This followed the routing and flushing out of the insurgents from those locations by the Nigerian army.
Some have been returned home. Some went on their own, as their own places at peace as of now.
Garkida and Jau, both in Gombe local government area, speak of the resounding progress made by the Nigerian army-led Operation Lafia Dole in restoring full normalcy to Adamawa State. When the producers of this video documentary toured Adamawa State in June 2016, the normalcy that now prevails in the two communities was yet to be restored, as indigents and residents remained convinced that Boko Haram influence and presence were ever present. 1 year after, and as you can see, the people of Garkida and Jau are back to their homesteads. When our crew visited both communities on this Sunday in June 2017, a number of residents at Jau were seen on their way to church, where they worshipped without apprehension.
Without repentance, my community church is useless.
And when church service ended, worshippers did not go back home in the fear of being ambushed and killed by Boko Haram. At Garkida, the church was packed full. And even on a Sunday, the Garkida market was a beehive of activity. Gideon Mai Sule, an indigene of Garkida, resides and works in the village. Speaking on behalf of the village head, Malam Umaru Hamidu, Gideon said the people of Garkida are now living peacefully after the Nigerian army sacked Boko Haram from the village.
That 2 years ago is very terrible. We encountered a lot of problems due to the Boko Haram insurgencies. And we run out. There's no any human being in this town again. We all run to the mountains, some run to the riverside, and so. The military men, when they came to this place, fought with this Boko Haram. We are on the mountain seeing what is happening. So, in fact, we give them very, very good support, and they really help us here. But we are very happy now due to the security support, and by God's grace, now everything is camp now. You can go anywhere. You can even go from here to Ngulde, even Askirahuwa. Even on market day, every villagers are all around come to on Tuesday for marketing.
and there's no any problem now. As far as we are concerned here, we are living peacefully with each one and everyone.
The security situation here in Jau is very encouraging. You can even stay in the midnight, 2, 3, 4. Nothing will happen. 2 years ago, it wasn't like this. 2 years ago, it was just living in fear. And people are not certain of what will happen tomorrow. But now the condition has changed.
If Hong, a major town in Adamawa State, had come back to life in June 2016 during our crew's last visit to the town, it was even livelier a year after on our next visit.
2 years ago we was suffering, but these BH people, they was bothering us here. But now we are okay. We thank God and we thank Nigerian army, including our president, the way he put his effort on towards what is happening in this northeast.
I came to power the same day, May 29, with the president. And before then, about 11 local government in Adamawa State was attacked, but 7 are occupied by the Boko Haram, including Mubi, that's my own town. After a couple of months, it became a history. Boko Haram, we cannot see them again. As far as Adamawa is concerned, the position for now is stable and things are calm. Everybody is happy, businesses are back. And we are very grateful, honestly, to our President, Muhammadu Buhari. And of course, I always give this kudos to the Chief of Army Staff and the Chief of Air Staff for being committed, for carrying their own colleagues alone and being professional military and do the right thing that they signed to, to work for Nigeria, and they are doing wonderfully well.
On behalf of my people, we thank the Nigerian government and the Nigerian army for doing their job wonderfully. The army is doing wonderfully, and I believe they will continue. May Allah give them the fortitude, strength to continue and liberate any part of Nigeria which is under the insurgency now, if at all there is.
Major General Ibrahim Attahiru is the theater commander of Operation Lafia Dole, the Nigerian army-led military campaign tasked with crushing the Boko Haram insurgency.
As I speak, there is no single local government that Boko Haram controls. And in strict military sense, if you measure success, that is more than adequate. There have been a whole lot of successes. From the time General Buratai came into office, he came with a vision that he wanted to have a professionally responsive Nigerian army in the discharge of his constitutional roles. And he ensured no sooner he got to the mantle of leadership, troops were better prepared before coming into the theater. And that is the results of what we are seeing.
Major General David Amadu is the Chief of Training and Operations, Nigerian Army. General Amadu says the military is fully on top of the situation in the northeast and affirms that Boko Haram has truly been decimated.
Boko Haram has been decimated, has been degraded, and that is true. You recall before this operation came into being, that was when Chiramsa was appointed. There were a lot of issues in the northeast. The general performance and operational performance, so to say, in the northeast was less than 5%. And you have said it, that the Boko Haram terrorists were occupying almost all the local government areas. If you remember, they had even gone to Goza and then hosted some of their flags, and they were chanting their songs all over the place. But when the Chief of Staff General Tukur Buratai came on board, today I'm proud to say that not a single local government that is under a terrorist.
While it is quite obvious that the Nigerian army has made very gigantic strides in the fight against Boko Haram in the period under review, some skeptics, however, question and even disagree with the narrative that Boko Haram has been degraded and decimated. Basing their counter-narrative on the spate of bombings carried out lately by Boko Haram in the northeast, particularly in Borno State, such critics contend that the bombings suggest a resurgence in the activities of the terror group rather than its decimation, as military authorities argue. But military authorities dismiss this counter-narrative, citing what is described as the peculiar features of the end phase of insurgencies all over the world. They argue that Boko Haram resorted to hitting soft targets as insurgents do at the terminal phase of their campaign, just to attract local and international attention and create the impression that they are still relevant, when indeed the group is in its death throes. What is to blame, really, is lack of information, or, in some cases, plain mischief on the part of many critics. As you have seen in this video documentary, the undeniable fact is that there are so many towns and communities in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states where the Nigerian army-led Operation Lafia Dole has restored normalcy after flushing out Boko Haram from those places. But because the transformations in these places are unknown to many, the erroneous impression that Boko Haram still holds sway in the northeast tends to have subsisted among critics. Finger-pointing critics also seem unmindful of the fact that even when it dominates and holds a theater of war, no army in the world, no matter how celebrated its might is, can control every inch or square meter of ground in that theater, even in a conventional war. Yet, the Boko Haram war is not conventional but asymmetric. A war in which the adversary deploys guerrilla warfare tactics rather than a conventional one in which the enemy is known by its uniform and engagements are undertaken in accordance with international laws governing the conduct of armed conflicts between adversaries. In asymmetric wars, the enemy is not only unknown, its strategies are also usually dastardly. Indeed, the insurgent could be that very person sitting next to you in the most harmless of settings. As history has shown, asymmetric wars are ultimately overcome when the people in the theater of the war collaborate fully with military authorities by way of providing credible and actionable information on the activities of insurgents in their midst. Total victory is also more easily attained through frank and soul-stirring exhortations of leaders, political, traditional, and spiritual. Exhortations that elicit positive attitudinal changes from and persuade insurgents and their covert supporters to desist from their evil ways. These, coupled with robust military operations, are the viable solutions to resolving the Boko Haram crisis and not the military option on its own alone. Rather than help matters, damaging comments which undermine and denigrate the untiring and heroic performances of the military in crushing the insurgency and point accusing fingers could only demoralize troops' morale, while further galvanizing Boko Haram into committing serial atrocities.
What we are having now is more or less criminal activities by these elements of the terrorists who are still hiding here and there, but we are pursuing them by and large to ensure that we get them out. We are in firm control of the situation here. And the Boko Haram terrorists may come out once in a while to make noise, but by and large, we can't go back to where it was.
before 2015, like users, and instead to move forward.
What we see is the reversion to terrorist tactics of carrying out a suicide bombing, persons-born IED, and a vehicle-born IED. Basically, those are the kind of things you see. The whole idea is to create fear and apprehension among the populace. But that, even amongst that, we are doing other things. For instance, we are carrying out counter-network operation, where bomb-making materials, midway before they get to people who actually put these bombs together, we try to seize them. Then Boko Haram has cells that carry out recruitment among the populace. We also get into these networks and ensure we disrupt the process of recruiting new people into the terrorist organization.
What we have are just some few elements of marauders, Boko Haram marauders, so to call them now, who just move around the theater, carrying out attacks on soft targets by using improvised explosive devices, and then using human improvised devices to carry out bombings and all that. And they are already frustrated, but they're trying to make prominence. However, they are not, we are not deterred by all this. They are only carrying out those attacks on those soft targets, like I'm telling you now. Yes, but for them to be coordinated to carry out any offensive against the military, that's no more possible.
The measures adopted by the Nigerian army to turn the tide against the Boko Haram insurgency in the period under review, that is, between July 2015 and now, shall be the focus of the next episode of this documentary. Please keep a date with that episode.
Oloibiri is a town in Ogba area